pleasant day everyone. I'm Aranjeev Palyare and in this video I will discuss the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Plan or the NDRRMP. So let's go! Identifying and understanding potential hazards and vulnerabilities is crucial for safety, security, and overall well-being. Here's why. First, we have the prevention. By recognizing potential hazard, we can take proactive steps to prevent accident, injuries, and damage. Second, we have the preparedness. Understanding vulnerabilities allows us to develop effective plans and strategies for responding to potential threats or emergencies. Next, we have the risk management. Identifying hazard and vulnerabilities is fundamental to risk management. It helps us prioritize risk, assess their livelihood and impact, and develop strategies for managing them effectively. Next, we have the compliance. Many regulation and standard requires organization to identify and address hazard and vulnerabilities to ensure compliance and avoid legal repercussion. Next, we have the continuous improvement. Regularly assessing hazard and vulnerabilities allows for continuous improvement in safety and security practices. By identifying and addressing issues proactively, we can create a safer and more secure environment for everyone. In essence, understanding potential hazard and vulnerabilities empower us to take control of our safety and security, minimize risk, and create a safer environmental for ourselves and others. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Plan, or the NDRRMP, is a comprehensive framework for the Philippines to address disaster risk and build resilience. Risk assessment plays a pivotal role in the NDRRMP by providing the foundation for effective disaster preparedness, mitigation, and response. First, we have the identifying hazard and vulnerabilities. The NDRRMP emphasizes importance of understanding the specific hazard and vulnerabilities of community and regions. Risk assessment helps identify these factors. First, we have the natural hazard. Typhoons, earthquake, volcanic eruptions, flood, landslides, and drought are commonly hazard in the Philippines. Second, we have the human-induced hazard. These include industrial accident, fires, and environmental degradation. Vulnerabilities. Risk assessment identifies factors that increase the susceptibility of communities to disasters, such as poverty, lack of access to resources, inadequate infrastructure, and poor housing condition. Second, we have the prioritizing risk. Once hazard and vulnerabilities are identified, risk assessment helps prioritize them based on their likelihood and potential impact. Third, we have the developing mitigation strategies. Risk assessment provides valuable insight for developing and implementing mitigation strategies to reduce the impact of disasters. One of the strategies could include is structural measures. It is the strengthening buildings, infrastructures, and critical facilities to withstand hazard. Also, we can include the non-structural measures, land use planning or the zoning, regulations, and early warning system. Lastly, we have the community, based on approach, training, awareness and campaign, and community preparedness program. Fourth, we have the enhancing preparedness. Risk assessment informs the development of disaster preparedness plan, including evacuation plans, identifying safe evacuation routes and shelters. Also, we have the emergency response plan, identifying roles and responsibilities for emergency responders. Last, we have the stockpiling of resources, ensuring adequate supplies of food, water, medical equipment, and other essential items. Fifth, we have the supporting disaster response. Risk assessment help improving the effectiveness of disaster response by identifying critical needs, understanding the specific needs of affected communities. Second, we have optimizing resource allocation, directing resources to our areas with the greatest need. Also, we have the facilitating coordination, enhancing communication and collaboration among different agencies and organizations. 6. We have the facilitating recovery and rehabilitation. Risk assessment contributes to post-disaster recovery and rehabilitation. By assessing damage, determining the extent of damage to infrastructure, property, and livelihoods. Next, we have the prioritizing reconstruction, focusing on rebuilding critical infrastructure and essential services. Next, we have the supporting community recovery, providing assistance to affected communities to rebuild their lives. In conclusion, risk assessment is an essential component of MDRRMP, guiding the Philippines' effort to reduce disaster risk and build resilience. Now, let's go to the Early Warning System, or the EWS, our critical tool in disaster risk reduction and management, playing a vital role in saving lives, minimizing damage, and enhancing overall resilience. Importance of Early Warning System. First, we have the saving lives. EWS are crucial for saving lives by providing an advance notice of potential hazard, giving people time to evacuate, seek shelter, or take other productive measures. Also, we have the reducing damage. Early warning allows for the implementation of mitigation measures, such as strengthening infrastructure, relocating vulnerable population, or securing critical assets. Also, we have the enhancing preparedness. EWS provide valuable information for planning and preparedness activities. By understanding the potential hazard and their likely impacts, decision makers can develop effective response plan, allocate resources, and train communities on appropriate action. Also, we have the improving response efficiency. Timely and accurate warning enable a more efficient and effective disaster response. Also, we have the building resilience. EWS contribute to building long-term resilience by fostering a culture of preparedness and promoting community engagement. Effectiveness of early warning system. The effectiveness of early warning system depends on several factors, including accuracy and reliability, timelines, accessibility, clarity, and understandability. The last is the community engagement. In conclusion, their effectiveness in saving lives, minimizing damage, and enhancing resilience depends on their accuracy, timelines, accessibility, clarity, and community engagement. Now let's go to disaster preparedness plans and training programs are essential components of any effective disaster risk reduction strategy. Developing disaster preparedness plans. The development of comprehensive disaster preparedness plans involve a systematic process that considers the specific hazard, vulnerabilities, and resources of community or organization. First, we have the risk assessment. The first step to identify potential hazard, assess their likelihood and potential impact, and analyze the vulnerabilities of the community or organization. Second, we have the plan development. Based on the risk assessment, a comprehensive plan is developed outlining specific action to be taken before, during, and after disaster. It also includes the pre-disaster action, during disaster action, and also post-disaster action. Third, we have the stakeholder engagement. Effective disaster preparedness plan requires the involvement of all relevant stakeholders, including government agency, community organization, businesses, and individuals. Fourth, we have the plan communication and dissemination. The plan must be clearly communicated to all stakeholders, including the public, emergency responders, and critical infrastructure operators. Fifth, we have the testing and revision. Disaster preparedness plans should be regularly tested through exercises and drills to ensure their effectiveness and identify areas for improvement. Next, we have the developing training programs. Training programs are crucial for ensuring the individuals and communities have the knowledge or the skills and confidence to respond effectively to disasters. First, we have the hazard awareness, emergency response procedures. Third, we have the communication and coordination. Fourth, we have the resource management. Fifth, we have the post-disaster recovery. In conclusion, the development of disaster preparedness plans and training programs is continuous, a process that requires ongoing collaboration, communication, and evaluation. And now, let's go to the Community-Based Disaster Risk Reduction, or the CBDRR. It's a critical approach to building resilience in the face of natural disasters. It is recognized that communities are the heart of disaster preparedness, response, and recovery, and that their active participation is essential for effective risk reduction. First, we have the local knowledge and context. Community possess unique knowledge and understanding of their local hazard, vulnerabilities, and resources. Second, we have the ownership and empowerment. CBDRR promotes a sense of ownership and responsibility among community members. Third, we have the increased participation and collaboration. CBDRR encourages collaboration and participation among diverse stakeholders within a community. Fourth, we have the building social cohesion and resilience. CBDRR fosters social cohesion and strengthens community bonds. When communities work together to address shared risk, they develop a sense of solidarity and mutual support. And last, we have the cost effectiveness and sustainability. CBDRR often leads to more cost effective and sustainable solutions. In conclusion, community-based disaster risk reduction is a powerful approach to building resilience and reducing by impacts of disaster. Emergency responders are the first line of defense during disaster, playing a critical role in saving lives, mitigating damage, and restoring order. Now let's go to the role of emergency responders. Emergency responders encompass a wide range of professionals, each with specialized skills and responsibility. One of the roles of emergency responders is the police, firefighters, paramedics, search and rescue personnel, transportation workers, and other essential personnel. Now let's go to coordination of response effort. Effective disaster response requires seamless coordination among various agencies and organizations. Involves unified command, a collaborative approach which multiple agencies work together under a single unified command structure. We have the Incident Command System, or the ICS, a standardized system for managing emergency incidents, providing a framework for communication, coordination, and resource allocation. Also, we have the communication and information sharing. Clear and timely communication is essential for effective coordination. Also, we have the resource allocation, efficiently allocating resources including personnel, equipment, and supplies to the area of greatest need. Also, we have the public information, providing accurate and timely information to the public about the disasters, safety measures, and available resources. In conclusion, emergency responders are the backbone of disaster response. Their specialized skills and coordinated effort are essential for mitigating the impacts of disasters. Effective coordination among agencies, clear communication, and efficient resource allocation are crucial for successful response.